get my microphone here. Whoa. A lot of banging around, I would assume. So, welcome to today's live stream. Today I am going to go over a couple of things that will kind of identify certain characteristics of very good programmers, for example, me and you, and some of the things that I've found out in the real world that kind of determine whether or not someone's a very good programmer and also whether or not they're kind of fit for the role, for the job. So we are going to go over a couple of these things. Let me turn off my music here. Maybe I'll just leave it on for a little bit. And I'm going to wait just a little bit before we move on to this little chat or this little app that I built out for you guys to sort of walk me through some of the things that I want to talk about today. So that's going to be the stream. And I'm just going to start pretty soon here. And okay. So I'm just monitoring who's coming in, who's coming out. And that's about it. So, looks like we have quite a few people in the chat now. I'm just monitoring who's coming in and who's coming out. I have about 32 people so far. And so this is a live stream, which makes it a little bit difficult because I'm the only person here controlling multiple screens. I have the live chat on the left side and then the simulator on the right, little camera feed of myself on the bottom right. Hopefully you guys can see the stream okay. I'm going to expand myself a little bit larger. How's the video looking like? I know sometimes it's not in focus, but today when I'm monitoring, it looks like it's okay. And I got some little bit of lighting in the back. And you see my TV, where is it? That's my TV over there. It's a 60-inch TV. And it looks pretty small back there, but it's actually quite huge. And this entire space is my living room. And yeah, I am blocking the view of the app. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, it looks like we have about 75 people on the stream right now, and I'll try to get this started really, really quickly as I scroll through the chat. Hello, everyone. Okay, we have, if everyone can shout out where they're from, that'd be great. We have good morning here from Roger Laxton, California in Belmont. I used to live in San Mateo, which is one city away from Belmont. So Belmont is here. I believe San Mateo is here. You know where it is. So yeah, I had a couple of friends that grew up in Belmont as well. And yeah, where else are you guys from? We have Jamaica, we have Arizona, India. I think India is probably the third largest demographic that I have on this YouTube channel here. And one other thing I wanted to mention is that there is a Facebook group for this YouTube channel and this whole community that we're building here. Let me just shrink myself back down to the corner a little bit. So if you guys want to join this Facebook group, the link is available in the description down below for the video. And there's currently about 200 of you guys that are in this group right now. There are quite a few people that are kind of waitlisted to join the group, which it's all these guys here. So one thing I want to mention about the group is that it is not currently open to public posting. It's currently not a group for people that are, I guess, just looking for people to help them solve their homework problems. It's more of a group where I'm trying to control it a little bit tighter right now while it's growing, because one thing that I noticed about Facebook groups is that as as you get more and more people inside of the Facebook group, it gets super spammy. This is why I've locked it down to only allow posting from myself, and then later down the road I'll put some more administrators and some mods or moderators to the group so that I can see where I want to take the group. And you guys are open to post comments on the postings that I put up. So yeah, the one thing that I want to focus on is to not allow spamming in the group, which means that I've had to lock pretty much all access to posting anything. Yeah, so definitely comment on the posts that I've been putting up, which is what the group is doing so far, which is great. And yeah, I guess that's all I want to say about the group. Okay, looks like we have 108 of you guys inside of the live stream. And it's always interesting because the live stream is something that's not recorded, or it is recorded, but just depending on the time zone of everyone around the world. 10 a.m. or around 11 a.m. for me in Pacific Daylight Time or Pacific Standard Time is a pretty good time slot for me. But I know it doesn't work for everyone. So catch the stream when it's recorded and you guys should be fine. Okay, so let's get started with what today's video is going to be about. And I've noticed quite a few comments on some of my videos, kind of asking like, how do I get started in programming? Where should I look for material? And what kind of like classes I should take if I want to go into software development. So I wanted to kind of deviate from those questions a little bit and start from a more kind of fundamental personality type of basis here. So today I will go over a couple of things that I've found to be extremely common in a majority of the good programmers that I've run into in my career. So the first thing is to kind of identify creativity. And if you're a creative person, you will be, you'll definitely have a lot more intuition for solving problems. So let me just slide over here. You notice how there's this slight animation going on. Let me just read this off. You don't often think about software development or programming as being a creative industry or creative field, but programming requires exercising a lot of the right brain. And when we say right brain, we're mostly focusing on the creative side. Programming requires creativity because every time you encounter a new problem or a new issue, you will you'll come upon like 5 or 6, 7 different types of solutions, and you have to be able to pick the best solution based on kind of like the limitations of the resources that you have. And this often requires you to like be creative about your solution. So implementing the perhaps cheapest solution is the best, or the solution that will get you up and running for the time being is the best. So I think this is something that a lot of people don't focus on, but I think writing code is also another way to be really creative. All right, so I think we have some spammers in the chat. So let me put some people in timeout here. Okay, so that's the first major thing about programming. And the other thing I want to talk about is, so sometimes I get a lot of these comments in the chat, and I wonder if some of the folks watching the channel are good at breaking down problems or not. And so every time I've had to build some kind of feature for a company or just for myself, the problems that you run into are quite large, and every project that you work on is usually a big feature, and you need to know how to break it down into small problems that you can solve. So that's kind of helpful. If you can't do this, it's going to be very tough for you to be a knowledgeable programmer and a good programmer in general. Yeah, that's kind of what I think about kind of like big problems. What do you guys think about this animation thing going on here? It's kind of distracting, but it's kind of what we have. Maybe I should release this app for you guys to inspect the code. It's actually super simple. Good afternoon from New Jersey. Hello. Makes me dizzy. So the animation is like 2 lines of code. And then the swiping is just a collection view, which I've illustrated quite a few times on the channel. So yeah. Okay, let's go into the next problem. I think this is super important. Can you spend 8 hours a day solving a single problem? And what I've often noticed is that I've spent many days in the office just trying to fix one single issue of the application or the program that we're building. And sometimes I even go home without like perhaps solving this problem. And this is a very, very strange thing that you don't run into a lot if you are kind of like an accountant or something. Or if you are, let's see, what other fields are there? I think if you're a teacher, you don't really run into this problem. Yeah, we are very lazy at refactoring. Open source the code. Yeah, software engineers, programmers with imagination. Yeah, being able to imagine like different types of solutions is a great part of like the programming culture. Okay. So the next thing is every time I've had to solve a problem, I've been able to like write some kind of really, really janky solution that's super simple, right? But do you search for better solutions all the time? So I think even if you've found a solution for a problem, always know that there is a better solution out there. I think that's the common theme of like everyday programming. And this applies to selecting which types of patterns you develop your applications in. So whether or not you choose MVC, MVVM, MVP, reactive programming, it's really meant to solve this solution right here where there's always a better pattern or better like just better practices that you can follow so that your code is more maintainable down the road. And so the good programmers that I've ran into, they've constantly been able to pick the correct like frameworks and the correct programming styles so that whenever someone new joins the team, they can easily modify the code and not break a lot of things. So yeah. So it says, can you leave this video from Denise right here on your channel after stream because I want to watch from Russia? Yeah, the video will be on the channel once I end the live stream. It gets uploaded to YouTube, and then it's like available for all of you guys to watch. Okay, I think we're on the last page here. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully, I can make today's live stream a little shorter than usual. The usual 2 hours is extremely long. Okay, last page here. Are you excited about continually learning new things and challenging yourself? So this is something that's unique about programming. Software development and programming is not a career where you reach a certain amount of knowledge and then you stop learning. So if you think you're gonna stop at perhaps like learning Swift, all I need to know is Swift, then you're kind of mistaken. Really requires a lot more than just one language if you want to be a decent programmer. So obviously you want to be a full stack engineer. That's the recommendation that I have for everyone that's trying to become a programmer. Know how to build the back end, know how to build the front end, and the website. So that really makes for a like invaluable resource for a company to have, especially when like the back end engineer goes like he gets sick and you have to modify the server to do whatever you want. You don't really want to be stuck waiting for that guy to come back. Okay, I'm just pouring myself a bit of tea here. Okay. All right, so we have Mark Mansour. What kind of camera and mic do you use? You can watch that video on the 2 microphones that I use. Currently, I'm recording through this lapel microphone, which is hooked up to this Zoom H1 device, which makes it super easy to record. What do we have? Audio when we're recording live, and also audio when I do the videos. And currently, so I'm standing right now, and a lot of the videos that I've recorded in the past, in 2016, I was sitting, but because of, I guess, back problems and some injuries from basketball, I started standing up to do most of my work. And here's the funny thing that I've realized about standing for work is that I don't end up spending like a huge amount of time on YouTube anymore because standing actually takes a lot of effort and your legs kind of hurt after a while, right? So I don't find myself wasting a lot of time while standing, which has been an interesting thing for me. I think everyone should try standing up and doing work for a while. You'll notice that you'll get a lot more done because you don't want to be standing forever. And also, I'll find myself walking around a lot, which hopefully helps me stay a little healthier. Yeah. So these are the pages of the software if you guys want to see the code. Let me see if I can just show you guys the code here. Let's see. Let me just show you guys the animation code, which is pretty simple. Let me see what's going on in the Facebook group. So we have a ton of you guys trying to join the Facebook group now. And I will get to everyone and approve everyone pretty soon. What I don't want to do is approve people that are kind of like unknown and just spammers. So if you don't have a Facebook icon, then I don't know if I want to trust you. So for example, I know this you are a legitimate person, Ravi, but I don't really know why people don't have Facebook images on their profile. I mean, are you trying to hide from the world? Anyways, yeah. So for those of you guys that are curious about the live streaming software. I use this piece of software called OBS, which is Open Broadcasting Software, I assume. And it allows me to put a bunch of images onto this little blank canvas, I guess you can call it. And I just drag all of the windows into the canvas, which allows me to stream exactly what's on my desktop. Software is free, so extremely helpful that I can just pull up everything up here. Yeah. Oh, have you guys seen this super chat feature? If you guys want to donate money to the channel, you guys can support the channel by just giving a few bucks. But that's kind of something that you can do if you would like to support us here. Otherwise, just hang out and you're more than welcome to be here. So let me pull up Xcode. And after we take a look at this code, I want to show you guys another app. So let's see. I guess I'll modify this guy, bring up the Xcode page cell here. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see the code. I guess I'll move this guy out of the way over there and move myself out of the way as well. So all of the code that does the animation is just one line, which is this right here. Okay, let's move this chat out of the way as well. So, yeah. So animation calls a transform on the text label. That is pretty much this thing right here. Each one of these text labels that you see fill up the entire cell. And every time we scroll over, I'm just calling this function called animate. And whenever you animate, you can set the layers transform to just 0. So let's see, move myself out of the way. So whenever you set the labels transform to 0, it shrinks it down to pretty much nothing. And then when you call animation on it back to identity, it brings it back to its original size. So this is the original size of the entire. I guess let me drag this guy back in. So the entire size of the label fits the entire screen. So it starts out as nothing and then it expands to the entire screen. That's kind of how this animation works. The way you get the bounce to occur inside of the label is to just use spring damping with 0.5 and initial spring velocity of 0.5. And the way that it's kind of easing in and easing out is to use curve ease out, which will get you that little bouncy slowdown. Curve ease out means that everything is accelerated in the beginning and then it eases out at the very end of the animation cycle. So that's kind of how that works. If I flip it over, what do I get? So it looks like that. Yeah, pretty simple app to make. Yeah. I guess we'll block some people here. All right, so that's kind of all I wanted to talk through in terms of what I've prepared for you guys today. Let me see what else I want to kind of show you through here. Let's see what Instagram looks like. I don't know if this is actually going to work. And let's get through some questions here. Okay, where do I want to start? Wait. Just trying to put some people on timeout here. Interesting. So what are you guys doing on a Sunday like this besides joining this live stream chat? I'm always curious about what people are doing on a Sunday. Okay. Let's see, where should I start? I guess I'll start from the top here. We have some people from Singapore, Sweden, South Africa, New York, Sri Lanka, Los Angeles. Finally caught a live stream. Well, welcome, and hope you'll join us next week as well. So let's see. Here. Okay. And we have Cheyenne, Wyoming. Interesting. Kind of, is that Midwest? Is that Cheyenne, Wyoming? We have Ukraine, from Italy, India, Belgium, Mother's Basement. That's good. Are you using OBS? Yes, I am. Jason Chan. I gotta ask you, in web development, we use XAMPP as servers. As for apps, what is preferable or usually used as servers? I'm not really sure what XAMPP is. Is that a LAMP server? Basically, when you're making web apps, you can use any type of server. There's really no preference or standard these days. What camera are you using right now? So currently this is shot on a Panasonic GH4. And the camera itself costs like $900, but I think it's been a good investment so far. I think the camera quality really, it's a lot better than my old camera, which is a T5i. And yeah, the lens that I'm using on this shot right now is a 20 millimeter 1.7 aperture lens, which means that if I am kind of in focus here, the things in the background are kind of blown out or is blurred out, which is, something that you can't really get in a phone camera. That's why you use one of these DSLRs, which are kind of expensive, but I think they're worth the investment. Okay, RX Swift or Reactive Cocoa. Honestly, I haven't used either one of these libraries at all, so I can't tell whether or not it's even a good investment. I know one of these libraries are maintained by the official Reactive team. I think it's RX Swift. That is from the originators of React or reactive programming. So I might go with the ones that are officially supported. Question: what is the easiest programming language to build an app? The easiest, please answer. The easiest language that you want to use to build an application right now is just hands down JavaScript. The reason is because you don't need to have any type of compiler. All you need is the browser, which you are already using because you're watching this channel. So build something with JavaScript. And then the next thing is to download Xcode and start building things in Swift. That's probably the easiest thing for non-programmers to pick up. Okay, looks like my Instagram is up and running here. Let's see if I can pull this up in the middle. Yeah. Let's see who's in here. I was trying to browse through my app to see if it's actually working. All right, some of you guys probably don't recognize Taiwan, but this is Raohe or Raohe 接关 Raohe 接关光夜市，比较难念呐。Okay, so we have a donation into the channel from CA. I want to see what CA is saying. Brian, you are a breath of fresh air. Keep up the good work. This channel is going to be big. All right. Thank you, Flamed65, for the $5. Hopefully the channel will be big. Currently it's resting at about 32,000 subscribers. Yeah, I think it's pretty amazing how far the channel has grown so far in a year. I started the channel in about 2016 of January, probably February, and then I injured myself. So I started the channel, posted like 2 videos, and then I injured my leg, which made it extremely hard to like record things. Some of you guys might think that recording is just sitting down, but you have to set up the lighting, press the record button, make sure the angle's okay. It requires a lot of footwork. So I injured myself, which kind of stopped me from filming for like a month. And then sometime during July or in May, I went to Taiwan, which is some of these trips, some of these photos that you guys are seeing. And then I went to like Taipei, Tainan, and Hualien, and then back to Taipei. So I pretty much like traveled all around Taiwan for a little bit. Extremely beautiful place. And I really wish I can go back, but the whole time I was there, I was like focusing on how the channel was doing. So I was constantly on my little iPhone viewing like the comments and seeing who was watching what videos, and also trying to think of new ideas for videos to publish. So all of this was when I was sitting on these Taiwan high speed rails. Yeah. So we have Jamie Chen. You are from Taiwan too. So like your fancy kid. This is I think it's $10 from this place called Ichiban or something. This little shop that sells a bunch of Japanese little accessories like cups. Okay. Nana Asuna, I've been there too. Pretty cool. Taiwan is a pretty amazing place. I think anyone that wants to kind of like see a different country should definitely check out Taiwan. And then here, this image here. Let's see. I think the captions are not loading correctly because I'm streaming. But you can buy food for like $2 that you would normally pay around $10 for in the US. And you get this nice plate of like noodles or breakfast. So I bought this for like $2, I think. This little egg noodle wrap with, I think there's sausage and other things, and it comes with some kind of soybean drink, which makes it extremely cheap. Every time I woke up in Taiwan, I just like went downstairs, grabbed breakfast, ate for like 10 minutes, and then I was like out and about, like hopping on trains and just walking around the entire city. And I also went by myself, which made it super simple to travel. Some of you guys that have traveled by yourself know that it's a lot easier to accommodate for just yourself when you're traveling. What I find is whenever you're traveling with other people, you have to make sure that they like the food, they like the places that you're going to, and they feel like you're kind of taking care of things. And when you're traveling by yourself, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. This is great. So, what are we talking about? Taiwan or programming here? Okay, how can we become a good developer? Well, it takes a lot of programming experience and just practice. How to switch between a grid list in a collection view like the Instagram app. So there's this feature in Instagram which you can kind of switch over to this column view, I guess. And I currently I've written out the grid view, and you click on this, you can maybe delete the post or something. And for those of you guys that are curious what this app is, it's basically Instagram, and it will be the next course that is available on the website. And it's packed with like a lot of different features that you can build out. For example, if I click here, I can sign out, and then I can sign in as a new user, select one of these photos, probably one of myself maybe, and we can choose that. Livestream@gmail.com for the email, maybe live streamer. 123 sign up, and then it registers my image into Firebase storage, and then once it's in there, I can pull it into my profile like that. Hopefully you guys are still interested in what this app is. And then I will add in a photo, which is this right here. So let's see, any embarrassing photos? Hopefully not. And which one of these photos are interesting? So let's see if this one right here is okay. It's a little out of focus, but it'll do for now. So once I've selected one of these photos, you hit the next. An amazing walk in the nightlife of Taiwan. So once you have that, you share it, and hopefully you guys are familiar with the functionality of Instagram. But you share it, and this image becomes available, right? And then your live stream should also, or your live, not live, but the feed of your home should also be in there. And if you want to search for people on the stream, like this really shouldn't be there. But let's see, nightlife. Let's see, this food person, you want to follow them, right? And then you go back, and then you want to refresh. You'll see this foodie person, all of his posts inside of the stream. So that's kind of what the app does. There's nothing in this thing yet, but yeah. All right, we have Anthony Smet. Can you say my name? Do you think you are well paid? Do you think you are well paid? Will you ever make tutorials for Android, especially in Android Studio? Java-wise, will you ever make tutorials Android, especially in Android Studio? Quite a redundant question, but I think I'll start putting up Android Kotlin videos. I don't really know if Java is still the best way to develop Android apps. I really don't want to write in Java so much anymore because it feels like such an ancient language. Yeah. What photo storage service would you use for a large application? So from Mike Zander. This is a pretty good question. The way that I host my website, let me see if I can pull up my website here. So for example, what are you doing? So I just want to pull up my website here. No, that's not what I want to do. No. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Drag this guy back up here. So the way this website works and all of these images for the website, for example, this course here, this screenshot on the left, this guy right here, and these little thumbnails for the website. They're all hosted on Amazon Web Services, which is AWS. And there's this service called S3, which allows you to store images onto Amazon servers. And so the reason why you would use something like S3 is because it's extremely cheap. I currently pay about, I don't know, not even $10 to host all of the assets on my webpage. So if you go back on this home section of the webpage, all of these images here, click on here, everything that you see is hosted by AWS S3. So you see this top image, this top guy, that's all S3. It's extremely easy to set this up if you know what you're doing. So that's one of the advantages to it. It's super cheap compared to any other service that you can purchase. I think the next option is to use Google's storage feature. I can't remember what it's called exactly, but that's also super cheap. Okay, so long answer for that question. Okay, which way is more used in US company, by code or interface builder? So this is not really a question that is focused on country. But a lot of these startups in US, so anytime you're building out a very simple application, interface builder is probably the better option, better choice to use. And then when you start having, you start hiring designers for your company to kind of put a specific brand or specific skin on your application, you'll notice that interface builder is more difficult to work with. And then you start having a combination of IB and code. And then later down the road, you find yourself just switching off completely to code. And for people that are experienced programmers, coding is not challenging. What's more challenging is visual tools like interface builder. As an experienced programmer, those tools become extremely hard to use. Because you don't have control over the application at that point, or it feels like you have less control. Do you have videos implementing a UI scroll view programmatically and running an application without storyboards and need to use a scroll view to fit all of my content? So the whole thing about UI scroll view is to not use it. I don't know, why don't you just use a UI collection view or a UI table view? Try to avoid using UI scroll views. Programming is boring. Nice we have a group like this, or go out for sunlight. Programming, I think, is not boring at all. Sometimes it does become tedious, but for the most part, I think it's pretty fun. Any advice for self-taught iOS developers? Well, keep teaching yourself. That's probably what you need. What do you think about test-driven development approach? I think for iOS development, a lot of people do not understand what TDD is. TDD is a highly sophisticated way of developing apps, and if you've never touched any program that's probably larger than 10,000 lines of code, you're probably not going to find TDD very helpful at all. Mac is a must for a mobile app developer right now. Without one Mac, or one cannot make app for iOS. That's mostly true. I'm currently trying to apply for University of Waterloo, which is in Toronto, I believe. How do Silicon Valley companies hire out of Waterloo co-op program? So Christopher Gohl, the last company, or one of the last companies I worked for, called App Dynamics, we had probably like 10 interns through the University of Waterloo. For the most part, those interns were pretty good. I mentored 2 of those interns, and they were both pretty decent. We ended up offering one of the interns a full-time position after graduation, and I don't think he took it, but that's that. For the Instagram, do you develop each tab or only one tab? So as you can see, there's multiple functions for each of those tabs, which is right here. So these tabs that she's talking about. So going back to the home. Who else can I follow here? Let's see if I can follow you. Refresh this guy. Bring up Mr. Taiwan Trip. And because the stream is live streaming, it takes a lot of juice. It takes a lot of bandwidth for my connection. So sometimes things don't operate all that well. Like the images don't download correctly. So that's that. Okay. Okay. IB or programmatic UI for better code readability. For code readability, I think, so IB, whenever I'm looking at these storyboard files, they never turn out to be what you see on the screen anyways, which makes it even more confusing. In YouTube app, can we lock scrolling like while you scroll up and down? Block horizontal scrolling in the cell? If you just turn off scrolling enabled, then you should be fine. When is the next Twitter video? Will you show how to add a tab bar? Everything I tried doesn't work. Yeah, I'll put up a new Twitter video probably next week. I'm really trying to release this Instagram course on my website as soon as possible so that I can kind of just see how it performs and see how many of you guys are interested in this style of application building. Yes. I've been an interface builder. It's hard to debug. I'd rather code it. Yeah, so that's another thing about interface builder. It's extremely difficult to debug why things don't work out in the storyboard. God is the greatest. If you believe in God, of course, that's a true statement. Do you know where is Azerbaijan or that? I don't know. Speaking of S3, I haven't found any good docs on using it with iOS. Any recommendations? So S3 is not something that you would use in iOS. S3 is something that you use in the server side. So this is why you don't find any type of documentation on it. It's not an iOS thing. Firebase is free. Not exactly. It's free if you want to use the free tier. Let's just put it that way. Any advice? I think I've answered that question. If you think Java isn't the best way for writing Android applications, then what do you think is? Well, Kotlin, like from Flame 65. So I built some kind of Twitter style application using Kotlin, and I think it's not bad. I think it's a lot easier. Well, okay, I think I found it really confusing when I first started using Kotlin, but it wasn't that hard to learn. Coding, you can control it. Yes. So memory management in Kotlin, everything developed inside of Kotlin eventually compiles into Java bytecode. So Java has its own garbage collection system to manage, memory and garbage collection and all that good stuff. So you just rely on the JVM to properly manage all that stuff for you. Do you go to WWDC of 2017? I've never been to any of the WWDC conferences. I think that's kind of redundant. I've never been to AltConf. I've never really been to any iOS conference at all. Waiting for a contract video as you have promised in the salary video. Yeah. I kind of wanted to move away from talking about money for a little bit. I know a lot of people are super interested in money, but I don't want this channel to be all about like how much money people make. It's kind of like a little too clickbaity. What do you think is the best ID for Java, IntelliJ, or Eclipse? Don't use Eclipse if you can avoid it. Hi Brian, big fan of your work. What's the biggest highlight of YouTube vlogging so far, and what are your future general vlogging ambition and targets? For me, I think YouTube is a platform that can help you in a lot of different ways. So the first thing about YouTube is that you kind of have to learn how to speak into a camera, which obviously you'll get better at over time. So you watch some of my earlier videos, I barely speak into the camera at all. It's just me running through the screen. And I don't even do it that well now either. So YouTube, you can get better at perhaps public speaking if you want to get good at that. You can learn how to manage your own brand, build your own company, learn how to be an entrepreneur. The most important thing about YouTube is to think about, or to constantly churn out new content for the channel. So if you are someone that's not creative, you don't have any good ideas to make videos on, then you'll find it extremely difficult to work on YouTube. My ambitions and targets. So currently I'm using this YouTube channel to kind of like generate an audience, and hopefully when, I'll be able to serve this audience by producing content that I can, charge money for, like premium content. That's kind of the point of this whole thing. And I've been pretty transparent about that, and hopefully all this is pretty obvious to most of you guys out there. Have you ever used MVP over MVC or MVVM when building iOS app? So, I have not used MVP or MVVM. I read a lot about those topics, but I've never really had the chance to implement MVVM. It seems like a better approach than MVC, but it's difficult to see the purpose of MVP and MVVM if you are not working on a large application. Will you make some TDD tutorials someday from Brian Law? Hopefully, but again, TDD requires like an extremely large project to start seeing its benefits. I appreciate you do. This makes me brave to code using Xcode. Yep. What is the first program that you coded? I don't know, probably some kind of Flash animation program. What college did you go to? What did you study? So I went to the College of UC Berkeley, which is in Berkeley, obviously. And I studied something called applied mathematics, and I got my degree in that as well. How do you handle font sizes for all your sizes? Is there an option like vary for traits for code? So I don't have a really nice solution for all the font sizes, but you can easily mock up something depending on which device you're on. Does the camera tab in your Instagram app work? So currently, no, the camera does not work. I don't know whether or not to include the camera into the course or not. Is AWS cheaper than Azure, better or worse? I don't have a lot of experience in Azure, but I know that's a Windows platform. I don't think anything is cheaper than AWS right now. What do you think about Paint Code? Have you tried it? I have not tried Paint Code. Any idea to help make beautiful UI tools or tips? This is also something that you kind of need to have in terms of being an iOS developer, like being able to design things in this small form factor and making sure the colors are correct. It's very helpful to have a good eye for design, I think. Okay. I know the basics of Swift. How can I become good at Swift? Well, keep on practicing. You'll become good eventually. What's the best city to live in the Bay Area? I don't think there's a unanimous answer to that question yet. Taking a while to learn from your channel. Practice, of course. I won my university's 24-hour app challenge. Oh, that's pretty cool. from Noah Gomez. Can you tell us what video you found the most helpful? Or here's the question for all of you guys: which video has been the most educational or the most fun too? Which video do you think is kind of that? What is wrong with the Eclipse? Extremely clunky and a lot of baggage from all the years of all the tools required for Java programming. Could you do a tutorial on how to effectively use and understand Xcode Swift docs? You just have to read it. I don't really have much to say about that. It's like being able to read a dictionary. How do you get good at encyclopedias, dictionaries, Wikipedia? You just have to get used to it over time. I am beginning to learn the foundation of coding through my high school computer science principal class, code.org. How reflective is beginner type of coding to the professional? I don't really know what code.org is. Add me on Facebook group. Okay, I'm a big fan of what is your favorite programming language. So, favorite programming language, I think in terms of what I find easy and fun to program in, I think JavaScript is probably the most fun you'll have programming. And Swift I find to be not that fun. Java is really not that fun. I think Google Golang is okay. Overall, I think JavaScript wins because it's it's not strongly typed, which makes it funner to program in, I guess. Yeah. Do you try Swift on the server, Vapor, or backend services like Kitura? I think I'll put up a Swift server-side programming video up sometime soon. Does the Future Premium subscription involve a lot of backend material and animation UI tricks? Oh, Joseph, good to see you again. I want to be able to put out a backend course as well. I'm going to focus more on courses on the month of March. So we'll see what I can get done in March. Question. I'm pretty sure I have traits that most programmers have. I got full A in graduate school, but really, how can I get a job as a software engineer in real life? I also have a BS in math. Yeah. I just have to apply for positions that you find online. So make sure you have a good resume, you have a good transcript, you have good projects under your belt. And that way you can apply for jobs and people will kind of take you seriously. That's all I have to say about that. Okay, a donation from Noah Gomez. Good stuff. Let me just get through these here. I understand you have experience in many languages, but did you learn Swift through searching Google and stuff, or did you read books? What was your exact resource for learning Swift? So I've never purchased any book for programming, really. Everything is kind of on Google. I think buying books is sort of outdated. I really liked your salary video. I mean, I like all of your vids. Good stuff. The YouTube series was the most educational. Collection View helped me with the app I made. You can Google that. But Coding Without a Storyboard helped me code an app faster. Yeah. Cool. Would you recommend Firebase for new developers? I think Firebase is a good solution for folks that don't have a back-end solution. Many videos like hijacking navigation controller model objects, learn the concept of model objects from your tutorial videos. You are really awesome. Well, thank you, Rosaria. I'm doing computer science at uni first year. How important are things like logic, automata theory when it comes to being a good programmer and getting a job? They seem a bit like useless just now. I think 90% of university courses, at least in the United States, seems pretty useless. Uh, Computer science courses are extremely useful, though. For example, how do you build out good programs? I guess how do you apply object-oriented programming is the most important thing you'll get from your college courses. Uh, Thank you, Noah Gomez from Texas. Really helps to see folks are able to support the channel by just giving whatever they have. Most fun and educational video for me was the collection view programmatically. It changes everything for me and how to code and create apps. Thank you. Get rid of this IB stuff. Yeah, interface builder is it's confusing for a lot of people sometimes. I mean, I still use interface builder for certain projects that clients want to have some kind of visual component to it. Do some live coding. I don't think live coding is all that useful. And first of all, live coding is kind of boring when you're watching someone think on the spot. I think it's kind of boring. Server side would be cool, yeah. Chat app with Firebase has been the most useful course so far. Being able to adjust the height and modify collection view based on the content is something useful in iOS, yeah. Android tutorials, hopefully I can get some new content out there. It's hard to get a job as a software engineer. That's a pretty generic question. It's pretty hard to get a job doing anything, really. Pay it forward, Noah, get good at coding, and come back and help noobs. Some suggestion to help people go to interview iOS. I don't really have any suggestions other than going to as many interviews as you can, applying to jobs that you want to work for, learn how to write a good resume, and things like that. So could you use Amazon S3 with Firebase? I would probably pick one or the other. Homework to do. Well, I hope you finish your homework assignment. What is a good way to what is a good way to learn iOS development? Follow the videos on the channel. Just build out apps that you think is fun. Yeah. I feel like sometimes we get lost in development and we don't really know what's fun anymore. So just make sure you're having fun doing whatever you're doing. Yeah, you are super unique and fun to watch. I really like all of your videos and subscribe to your channel. You should be much bigger than you are. Well, hopefully the channel will continue to grow. I'm not really focused on, I guess, subscriber count right now. It's a nice number to look at, but one thing about YouTube is that if you focus too much on maintaining a high subscriber count, you kind of lose focus on everything else that you're trying to build out at the same time. So, for example, the maintaining my website lately has been haven't been able to put up many new content on the website. So YouTube is a strange beast. I purchased Java 10 years ago, finished the book, tutorials, okay, 98%, but never did anything for myself with it till last year. Android development, yeah. I really discourage people from reading books in general about programming. It's kind of like reading a book about how to ride a bicycle or how to cook some particular meal. You really don't understand how to do it until you apply the actual practicing with your bare hands. Yeah. Have you programmed in C? Did you find it difficult? I learned C when I was in college, about when I was 18 years old, so more than 10 years ago. I didn't find it to be extremely difficult. The more difficult part about C is that you have to manage the memory yourself. But aside from that, the syntax is pretty straightforward. I recently started developing Swift apps. I've seen that you do not use Storyboard. Why and what are the pros and cons? So you notice that ever since I released that video about why I don't use storyboards, I've gotten this question a lot less on why I don't use storyboards. And so that video has relieved a lot of the frustration that I've got in the comment section. So with Synergy, I suggest you look up that video on why I don't use storyboards. It's too much to reiterate right now. What are your thoughts on React Native? I think it's a great way to develop apps. I plan on releasing an app on the App Store, building React Native. So I'll let you guys know when that's done. And you guys will be able to use it. Thank you, Brian, for the amazing tutorials. I am loving iOS more and more. Do you think people outside the US have lesser chances in getting employed in the US? Well, obviously, yes. Because, recently the US seems to be anti everything right now, anti people from outside of the US. So that would be pretty difficult. Please continue with the algorithm series or exercises. So sometimes I find it difficult to come up with a good algorithm on what to teach on Fridays. I think I have to get better at that. So because I've been away from school for so long, coming up with these algorithms that are helpful for you guys to learn and understand during interviews isn't all that easy. Okay. Nice to see you as well. Quick question. Constraints for each cell. Okay. Pointers were annoying in C. Could you tell me your current job and annual salary? Wow, that's pretty direct. So currently I'm just working for myself. Annual salary, I don't even know how much money I make right now. Keeping track of your own finances as an entrepreneur is difficult. Do you find yourself answering the same questions each week? Sometimes. I made a video about the salary stuff, yep. Can you release the iOS Android version Instagram app so we can purchase and learn from both platforms? I haven't really thought about building this Instagram app for Android yet. One problem that I have with building courses for Android right now is that I don't have a physical Android device. I have an Android tablet, but I don't have an Android device. Yeah, I just have to go out and buy an Android device, which is not that difficult. Have you worked on high-level C APIs in iOS? Could you mention some detail if you have worked on? So I haven't really worked on high-level C APIs. We have Albert Liu with 150 new Taiwan dollars. Is that what it is? So what does this convert to? I think it's $1 for every $30. So is that $5 US? Is that what it is? I'm always curious about the currency conversion, is what you call it. So this feels like $10, $15. No. Yeah, Albert Liu from Taiwan. Yeah. I remember Albert，你是之前我跟你在那个 comment 里面有写过那个中文的吧，对不对？哎，我下一次去台湾，可以跟你联系吗？Okay, it's about $5. Yeah, it's good. That $5 in Taiwan can get you a lot of different types of food and stuff like that. What programming languages do you know and what are good ones? Yeah, Swift and Java, cross-platform apps. Do you prepare your code in advance when you record your tutorials, or do you program without any preparation? Well, programming without any type of preparation is extremely difficult. Even when you watch like presenters on a stage for like a Apple WWDC teaching session, they prepare for a long time, and even they don't code live because coding live is extremely hard. And I prepare. So let me go through like the typical preparation of one single video. For example, let's say I want to release the next Twitter series video. The thing I'll have to do is I need to think about what feature I want to build, and then I'll code out the actual feature, and then I will think about how to teach that particular feature in an easy to understand way, and then I hit the record button like after I prepare everything. And then what happens is I code up everything during a record session, and then that's the first shot. And most of the time the first shot is something I throw away. And once I'm able to get the first shot done, I can gauge how long it takes to record that particular video. I will be able to decide what to cut out, and I will decide how to speed up the video and to cut through the code that I don't think is all that useful. So recording these videos requires not only preparation, but also understanding how long it takes to go through a particular feature, which hopefully you guys can kind of understand that the videos are, to me, they seem pretty interesting because it takes a couple of shots to get like a good video done. And to me, every time I rewatch one of my videos, I think it's pretty interesting because you see someone code live, and I'm doing it semi-live because I already know what types of code or what lines of code I need to write. It's all in my head, right? I'm not looking at any script or anything. And to be able to like code live, build out stuff, run the code, have the assembler show exactly what the code does, I think that's the most interesting part of what the channel has to offer. I think a lot of people are attracted to that type of video content, which to me isn't really that hard to build because I've been doing this for so long that programming it's like second nature to me now. It's equal to 4.893 US dollars. Well, thank you very much, Albert Liu. It's good to see you again because I know I haven't seen you for quite some time. What is my nationality? I'm not sure what this question means. I'm a US citizen, born and raised in California, which makes me a United States citizen. In terms of things like ethnicity, I think I've said this before, but my parents are from the country of Vietnam, but they are the Chinese diaspora is what you call it. So the Chinese population that lived in Vietnam. So we are, I guess I would say Vietnamese Chinese or Chinese Vietnamese, one of those, if we're talking about ethnicity. Most successful app you have been involved in, so obviously Touch of Modern. makes like, I don't know, 10, 20 million, $30 million a month off sales. So that's a pretty good app. I don't get that money at all, so do not think that I'm rich off that application. But the company just makes, I don't know, $200 million a year or so. If 35K subscribers gave you $5, you'd probably come to South Africa right now. Yeah, if everyone out there donated $5 to me, it'll be fun. Should I learn React for native iOS app building? I don't know, probably not. Coding Live is a lot of fun because you get immediate feedback from the community. Yeah. 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 So good stuff. Looks like everyone's kind of checking out here. It's 12 o'clock in the United States, at least in the West Coast. So it's pretty much lunchtime for me. And that means I will kind of leave you guys for today. It's been interesting every Sunday, one of these little chats that we have. I think I will probably go for some kind of live coding. I might try to do a live coding session next Sunday with an app that is fairly basic so that I can make sure I can squeeze the app into one live coding session, which is mostly like an hour to an hour and a half. And then you guys can watch me code live. But like I said, watching someone code live isn't all that fun unless they've prepared ahead of time and know exactly what they're doing. I really don't enjoy when people are kind of fumbling through their code. I think it's a waste of everyone's time. Yeah, so every Sunday we do one of these sessions. But yeah, I think so what I'm trying out these days is kind of a new camera setup. One thing that I've been able to finally figure out how to do is to adjust something called the white balance on my camera. And now everything that's coming through the lens is like correctly calibrated to the right colors. One thing I need to buy for this entire setup that I have with my camera is I'm trying to get an external field monitor so that I can see a little bit better at what I'm recording. Now, some of you guys know that DSLR cameras come with this little 3-inch screen. It makes it kind of hard to figure out what's in focus. And right now I can see myself in the open broadcasting software, which makes this easier, but trying to buy another field monitor or a monitor that costs $200 to purchase off Amazon. So I have to invest a little bit more into one of these recordings, which will hopefully benefit everyone in the channel. So great stuff. Yep, I am going to have some lunch now, and hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your day, rest of your nights, and make sure to never stop learning and never stop coding. So that's it for me. Hope to see you guys in the next video. Goodbye and good night.